83 years old, and I am holding the most expensive thing I have ever owned. It cost me $12. $12 from a Sears catalog in 1982. A Little League baseball glove, small, made for a boy's hand. I just pulled it off a shelf in my garage where it has been sitting for over 40 years. And let me tell you something. The dust on this thing came off on my fingers like ash, like something that had been cremated. The leather is so stiff I can barely close it. It cracked when I tried. You know why it cracked? Because no one ever used it. No one ever broke it in. No one ever pounded a fist into the pocket the way a boy does when he's standing in the outfield waiting for a fly ball. This glove never saw a single game, never touched a single ball. And the morning light is coming through that filthy garage window right now, and I can see every particle of dust floating in the air around me. And the whole place smells like mildew and old motor oil. And I am standing here with my knees aching and my hands shaking. And I am telling you, this glove is the receipt for every Saturday I stole from my son. I need you to listen to me. I don't have much time left, and I'm not saying that to be dramatic. I'm saying it because it's true. And before I go, I need to tell you what this glove really cost me. Not $12. It cost me everything. Let me take you back. Let me take you to who I was, because you need to understand, I wasn't a bad man. That's what makes this so dangerous. I wasn't out drinking. I wasn't running around. I wasn't cruel. I was ambitious. And ambition, when you point it in the wrong direction, will burn down your house while you stand outside admiring the flames, thinking it's a sunset. I was a regional sales manager for a manufacturing company. Started in the late 70s. By the early 80s, I was the guy they talked about at quarterly meetings. I was the guy who never missed a target. I wore that like a medal. Every morning, I was up at 5. The house was dark and quiet, and I'd stand at the kitchen counter in my shirt and tie, drinking coffee that was too hot because I didn't have time to let it cool. I can still smell it. That burned coffee and my cologne mixing together in the dark kitchen. I'd snap my briefcase shut, and that click, that sharp little metallic click, that was the sound of my life. That was my heartbeat. My wife, Helen, she'd sometimes be awake. She'd be standing in the hallway in her robe, arms crossed, watching me leave, and she'd let out this sigh. Quiet, almost like she was releasing something she'd been holding all night. I thought that sigh meant she was proud of me. I thought she was watching her man go out and conquer the world for his family. It took me decades to understand that sigh wasn't admiration. It was grief. She was mourning me every morning, mourning a husband who was alive but already gone. I told myself a lie, and I believed it the way you believe the sun will come up. The lie was this: providing is loving. I said it out loud. I said it to Helen when she asked me to come to the school play. I said it to my son Danny when he asked me to play catch. I'm doing this for you, I'd say. Someday you'll understand. And I'd buy him things to make up for it. That's where the glove came in. I bought him that glove, and I handed it to him, and I said, "Next weekend, buddy, I promise. Next weekend, we'll break it in together." And I meant it. God help me, I meant it every single time I said it. But next weekend came, and there was a client dinner. And the weekend after that, there was a conference. And the weekend after that, there was always something that felt urgent, that felt like it couldn't wait. And my son could wait, because my son loved me, and I thought love was patient, and I thought I had time. I got the promotions. I got the bonuses. I got the corner office with the window. I remember sitting in that office on a Saturday afternoon, looking out at an empty parking lot, feeling like a king. I want you to hear that. I sat in an empty building on a Saturday and felt like I was winning. Meanwhile, 12 miles away, my son was playing baseball, and my wife was in the bleachers alone, cheering loud enough for 2 parents because she had to be. Now I need to tell you about the day that ended everything. Not my career. My career went on just fine. What ended was something I didn't even know was dying until it was already dead. It was the spring of 1984. May, I think. Maybe early June, because the air had that thickness to it, that warm heaviness that clings to your skin. Danny was 10 years old. 10. He had a championship game that Saturday, Little League District Finals. He'd been talking about it all week. I could hear him at dinner, going over the lineup, telling his mother who was pitching, what the other team's weaknesses were. He was so alive when he talked about it. His hands moved in the air, like he was conducting an orchestra only he could hear. Saturday morning, I was in the bedroom getting dressed, not in jeans and a ball cap, in my work clothes. And Danny appeared in the doorway. He was already in his uniform, the white pants with the grass stains from practice, the navy blue jersey that was a little too big on him, the number 14 hanging crooked on his back, and he had his glove on his hand, the game glove, the one his coach had helped him break in because his father never did. And he looked up at me and he said, "Dad, the game's at 11. Are you coming?" I was tying my tie. I didn't even stop tying my tie. I looked at him in the mirror, not even face to face, in the mirror, and I said, "I can't today, bud. I've got the Mercer account. But next weekend, I'll make it up to you." And here is the moment that has haunted me for almost 40 years. He didn't cry. He didn't argue. He didn't slam the door. He just nodded. This small, quiet nod, like a little old man who already understood how the world worked. And he said, "Okay, Dad." And he turned around and walked down the hallway, and his cleats made this soft clicking sound on the hardwood floor, and that sound got quieter and quieter until I heard the front door open and close. That nod was not a child being understanding. That nod was a child giving up. That was the last time Danny ever asked me to come to a game. Not because he stopped playing. He played 2 more seasons. But he stopped asking. He just stopped. And I was so busy, I didn't even notice the asking had ended. What kind of father doesn't notice his son's silence? Years went by. Danny grew up the way children do when you're not watching, which is to say, completely. He went to college, got married, had 2 kids of his own, and I retired, and suddenly I had all these weekends, endless weekends. And I thought, now I'll make it right. There was a Thanksgiving, maybe 2005, maybe 2006. The years blur together now. The whole family was at our house. Helen had cooked for 2 days. The dining room smelled like turkey and rosemary and warm bread. And there was this golden light coming through the curtains. And everyone was gathered around the table, and it should have been perfect. After dinner, Danny's 2 boys were outside throwing a football, and I saw an opportunity. I said to Danny, "Hey, why don't we go out there, toss the ball around, like old times?" And Danny looked at me with this expression I will never forget. It wasn't anger. It wasn't resentment. It was nothing. It was polite emptiness. And he said, "It's fine, Dad. They have coaches for that." The table went quiet. Not the kind of quiet where everyone is uncomfortable. The kind of quiet where everyone already knows something that you are just now figuring out. My daughter-in-law looked down at her plate. Helen reached under the table and squeezed my hand. And that squeeze told me everything. It said, "I tried to warn you." It said, "This is what I was sighing about all those mornings." My children didn't grow up angry at me. That's what people don't understand. Anger would have been a gift. Anger means there's still something there, still some fire, still some expectation that you might show up. My children did something much worse than get angry. They adapted. They built entire lives around my absence. They learned to celebrate without me in the room. They learned to win games without me in the stands. They learned that love and Dad were 2 separate things, and they made peace with it. They didn't shut me out. They just stopped leaving the door open. So here I am, 83 years old, sitting on an overturned bucket in a garage full of things I bought with all the money I made on all those weekends. Helen died 4 years ago. She was the bridge between me and my children, and I didn't know it until the bridge was gone. She was the one who filmed the games. She was the one who said, "Your father wanted to be here. He's just working hard for us." She covered for me for 30 years, and I never once thanked her properly for it. Now my weekends are the quietest thing you've ever heard. The house makes sounds I never noticed before. The refrigerator hums. The clock in the hallway ticks so loud it sounds like a judge's gavel. I eat dinner at a table with 3 empty chairs, and I watch the food get cold because there's no reason to rush. Danny calls on Sundays, every Sunday, right around 4. The conversations last maybe 8 minutes. He asks about my health. I ask about the kids. We talk about the weather like 2 strangers in a waiting room. My grandchildren, they're teenagers now, and they're polite to me the way you're polite to an old neighbor you don't really know. They say, "Hi, Grandpa," with a little wave, and then go back to their phones. And I can't blame them, because you can't miss what you never had. They never had me, not really. I sit in this garage and I hold this glove, and I look at it, and the leather is stiff and perfect and completely unused, and it mocks me. It's the most honest thing in this house. Every trophy on my shelf is a lie. Every plaque on my wall is a lie. But this glove tells the truth. This glove says, he never came. This glove says, next weekend never happened. I can still smell the phantom coffee some mornings. I still hear the phantom click of that briefcase. Some days I swear I hear cleats on the hardwood floor, getting quieter, getting farther away. And I would trade every single dollar I ever earned, every promotion, every handshake, every late-night client dinner, every quarterly bonus, for one Saturday morning on those aluminum bleachers, sitting in the sun, eating a stale hot dog, watching my son play a game that mattered to him. Just one. But you can't buy back a Saturday from 1984. Trust me, I've tried. Now I'm talking to you. Yes, you. I'm not talking to the person next to you. I'm talking to you, the one watching this on your phone right now. Let me ask you something. Where are your kids right now? Are they in the next room? Are they down the hall? Are they outside waiting for you to come watch them do something they think is important? Because it is important. It's the most important thing that will happen today, and you don't even know it yet. Put the phone down. I know what you're telling yourself. I know because I told myself the same thing for 25 years. I'm doing this for them. I'm building something. I'm sacrificing now so they can have more later. Stop it. Stop lying to yourself. Your children do not want more later. They want you now. They want you today. They want you in the stands with your shirt untucked, clapping at the wrong time, embarrassing them in the way only a present father can. They want you on the living room floor. They want you burning pancakes on a Saturday morning. They want your time. That is the only currency that matters to a child, and it is the only currency you cannot earn back once it's spent. You will never hear your boss say your name at your funeral, but your children will be there, and they will either stand up and say, "He was always there for us," or they will stand up and say something polite and empty that sounds like love but tastes like dust. Your kids are going to stop asking you. That's what I need you to hear. They will not make a big announcement. There will be no confrontation. One day, they will simply stop standing in your doorway, and you won't notice. And by the time you do, you'll be 83 years old, sitting on a bucket in a cold garage, holding a glove that never got used, wondering where all those next weekends went. Go, right now. Go find your child and tell them you're here. Not next weekend, not tomorrow, now. Before the leather gets stiff, before the dust settles, before the asking stops. Because once it stops, it doesn't start again. Believe me, I know.